Hi, it's Shaneen Clarke here. I'm at the Ritz Piccadilly in London. It's such an exciting day for us. We're hosting Sherry Blair today. And as most of you may not be aware of, but the Women's Corps was founded in 2001, a vision to empower women in business, in the corporate place, and in influence. The aim of this event is to reach people and see the transformation of life and see the name of Jesus Christ lifted up in a venue of excellence. Humanitarian has been a big arm of the vision of a women's corps. But one of the highlights of a women's corps has always been the tea at the Ritz.
So I've been asked to speak this afternoon about possibly the most powerful encounter I've ever had. And this encounter was with two gangs of prostitutes who were in Kenya in Africa. And I was there with Alpha Kenya, and one of my visits was I was scheduled to be in a, I'm going to call it a church, but basically it was a shack actually in a slum where I was told that maybe you shouldn't go, Heather, because it's just too dangerous. So we go to the slum into a church, a tin shack, and in this tin shack that was a church were two gangs of the most amazing women. I now know they were amazing. I was actually at the time very frightened to meet them. They were women who lived on the dump. When I was going around the dump with them, they were finding particles of food, not big lumps of bread, just particles of food. They would go through the waste. They'd find a little bit of an old apple. They'd find a little bit of a squashed tomato. They would just find little bits of food that they would then give to their children and also eat themselves. But I'm talking about a handful of food. Now, they accepted the food that we gave them, and I was there to read to them. I was there to read the Bible to them. They had found their way to this church for refuge. The minister, this wonderful minister, had befriended them. He had occasionally organized food for them, and I mean horrible sliced bread with a carton of milk. And he had read the Bible to them. And now this white woman with this mixed-race child was actually going to come and see them and read the Bible to them. Well, I sat down, and they all sat round me, and they were touching my feet and touching my hair and touching my clothes, and they were just hanging on to every single word I was saying. I'm going to jump and say that now, through the Bible Society, we've got talking Bibles to them. So they actually can now listen to the Bibles and Bible stories. But that's another story. But they now have Bibles. They loved the fact that they were loved. They loved the fact that whatever they did, whatever they have done in the past, that Jesus loved them. They found it hard to understand that Jesus loved them. And they just loved the fact that we loved them, Jesus was loved them, and that they could listen to the Bible.
In 2008, Sherry founded the Sherry Blair Foundation, which seeks to empower and support women globally. And today, the increasing impact women are having in the world economy, the charity seeks to empower those women. Because women make a difference in our society, just as we heard from Heather, we make a difference. We stand for making a difference, and to empower women and to bring change in the economy and the involving business today is incredible. And I am proud to introduce Mrs. Sherry Blair.
Well, hello everybody, and I hope you can hear me. I'm used to standing behind a lectern like this and talking mainly, I'm afraid, to male judges, though increasingly to female ones. Can I first of all thank Shaneen for those kind words, especially the ones that made me younger. And indeed to all of you for your very warm welcome. But Shaneen, I also have a complaint, because you have tempted me. Because, as you've heard, I'm a Catholic, and in Lent it is our practice to give up things. So what have I given up for Lent? Sweets, chocolates, and puddings. Which is why I've been very careful to stuff myself only with the sandwiches. It's so important that we not only have faith in the young women and the older women across the world, but that we do all we can to empower them. Because then we really will transform our societies. And that is a goal worth fighting for. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. And you know, my heart is really to see women being released in their God-given gifts and to empower one another. So if you can just do that today by just being really friendly, again, and just tell the person next to you, you have purpose before you leave. You have purpose. Doesn't that do it? Okay, well, enjoy yourselves and make the most of the rest of the evening, and God bless you. And we have Emma Peters. Yes, we have some flowers for you. Watson, rather. I know her as a single name, so. Sherry, I just wanted to ask you, what was the driving force behind founding the charity?
Well, I think in the end it goes back to my beginnings as a daughter brought up by two incredible women, my mother and my grandmother, who themselves didn't have the opportunities I had. I think had they had that opportunity, would have been absolutely incredible achievers, and who in fact were incredible achievers for all they did for myself and my sister. And so when I go across the world and I see women who aren't getting those opportunities, I think of my mum and my grandmother, and I say that for their sake and for the sake of everybody, we're going to make sure that the 21st century is the time when women finally really get full equal rights.
Yes, that's wonderful. What would you say to women if they today? What would be your main?
Have confidence in yourselves. Understand that we're not better than men. We are different from men, but we have as much to offer as men. And if we actually are not allowed to offer what we have to offer, then it's not just we who miss out, it's the men too, because actually together we're so much more powerful.
Sunita, being at the Ritz today and hearing Sherry Blair, it's a great honour to have you here, but just wanted to ask you, how do you feel about women and what would you say to women today?
Do you know what? It's amazing. We are so privileged the way we live, and you hear and you read about stories, but to actually hear from you and Sherry, people who've been in contact with women who are really suffering the horrible indignities and living this terrible life, who overcome and rise up and provide for their children and their communities, is very inspiring, very empowering. I want to be a mentor because I learned so much today, and you realise that if they can do it, we can do something.
What would you say to women today? What would be your message for them?
Oh my
gosh,
gosh,
they do to make a difference?
Just that, we are all called, that we have a purpose, and yes, it's wonderful to live, these luxurious, fantastic lifestyles, but actually we're called for something higher than that.
Yes.
And I realise as well that I'm in this position for a reason, and it is to bring attention and help to these causes, and that we can all make a difference.
A woman's call.
A woman's call. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Every time I've been to one of Shaneen's programs, I'm always inspired and encouraged. I'm sort of an entrepreneur. I run a business, but every time you come, all the speakers she invites, they always just encourage you and talk to you about real life situations and how there's purpose behind everything and anything that you find yourself doing. And truly, Shaneen, well done, congratulations. was amazing listening to Sherry Blair. Well done. Thank you.
Hayley, you're involved with the Wilberforce Trust in London. Can you just tell us a little bit about it?
Well, the Wilberforce Trust, we do a lot of different activities. We have a homeless shelter, a drop-in shelter, we have drug rehabilitation course, and we really look after the individuals that need help due to different sets of circumstances. And one of the biggest things that we're dealing on at the moment is this whole response to sex trafficking, which in London is men, so young girls that are brought over here and made to work in a brothel, service 30 men a day. And we've really been looking at what we can do to really help them, and we're looking at setting up a shelter in London and providing them with the aftercare that they need to get them back on track.
That's incredible. I would love for the Women's Call to partner with that, and we can make a difference in the lives of people. So, Hayley, thank you. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're gorgeous as well, by the way. June, just wanted to ask you, how did you hear about A Woman's Call?
Basically, I was listening to Premiere about 2 years ago, and I heard Shaneen giving a small talk about Joseph in the pit, and I was actually in the pit. And the way she came across, it just brought so much healing. And I contacted her website.
Oh, right.
And then I sent you a prior request. She said, go and get the book. So I did get the book, and from there I just followed, and her life inspired me, definitely.
First of all, I'm so pleased to be invited today. I was so pleased to give support to my friend Sherry Blair, who I have known since the day she left the London School of Economics. I've watched her grow. I've watched how she's become a great role model for women. Women should better themselves. They shouldn't take no for an answer, and they shouldn't stay looking at the four walls of the house. Whatever the situation is, they should go out. This life is not a rehearsal for the next life.
I love that. This life's not a rehearsal for the next life. Thank you, Mary, for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, I have to say. The point of today is really to get the message of purpose in life. Purpose through a relationship with a higher power, which is Christ. He's made a difference in my life, and I love to share this at a venue of excellence where you can invite women that wouldn't expect to go to church or an environment of faith. So it's a wonderful place to share faith and get inspirational speakers, and also have high tea at the Ritz.